Welcome to The Empty Canvas, the podcast about how creativity begins. I'm the host, Pascal Anson, and today I'm joined by illustrator Joey Yu. Joey, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get into illustration, I think the thing that I'm really excited to talk to you about today is drawing. Because I think for a lot of people, drawing is something that kind of helps to get somewhere else. But I feel with your work, it's absolutely fundamental to everything that you do.
Yeah, for sure.
How have you managed to turn drawing into the sole practice of your work? Where does that come from?
Where does drawing come from? I mean, I've been drawing since day dot. That's
Like lots of people.
like lots of people. And yeah, so I guess that's true. Like we all start drawing from when we're itsy bitsy. We've got the paper and the pencil, and it's like as rudimentary as that. And I think it is just making sure I never forgot that I had those two things, and always going back to that. And yeah, I think you go throughout your education, your journey through like primary, secondary, and all sorts, and you slowly get tighter and learn all of these things where you kind of discard it, and you learn, oh, pencil is going to be replaced by like a biro or like the handwriting pen, and then you slowly move to the computer, and then everything kind of gets discarded, and then you get further and further away from just like writing down an idea or writing, even writing.
Yeah.
I think writing and drawing is kind of connected.
So what I'm hearing is that you I guess at some point somebody I think like everybody's look, we do a drawing at school. Our mum or dad or the person looking after us puts it on the fridge and is like, darling, that's amazing. But that obviously, you've kept that, and you I'm guessing that because I'm hearing the kind of love of drawing, or I understand the love of drawing when I look at your work, and I really want to know where that comes from and how you haven't started to work with a computer or start doing another evolution that you've just talked about.
Well, I have to say I do use a computer these days, because when you have to work with clients, the computer creeps in. But I don't know.
Why have you stuck with that, do you think? Because I think a lot of people, I love drawing.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just an exercise. It's like something.
And then it turns into.
But even if I go and do some life drawing, for example, it becomes something that I see it as almost like an exercise class. It's challenging. It's difficult for everybody. I want to get better at it. But it's not really a means to a specific end of drawing. Whereas I feel for you, drawing is everything in your practice, and that's, I think, a very different mindset.
I think it's just, I don't know. I think I've always found it almost frustrating if I try to turn a drawing, even just the most basic instant drawing, into something else. It's never quite as good as the first iteration. Like there's an energy there in like the loose, rough idea. And
that's something that I really want to get onto later, because I was thinking about things to ask you actually, and that thing about that raw energy when you start. I thought about yesterday, and then I was like, this morning I was like, oh, what was that question? And actually, so remind me later. It's about knowing when to stop. But we can get to that a bit later on. But I think that raw energy is a kind of that. Do you delight in that kind of the ability to be able to have to kind of project that energy through drawing?
I actually, now you mention, I think actually if I really think about it, there is this point where I was a little bit older, and I started to go tighten up and
Raise
and make things look more perfect. and yeah, started to move away. And then I think it's like addressing the fact that like, yeah, there's this like perfectionist mindset that I had, and it was like moving away from that to find the joy again.
It doesn't help anybody being perfectionist, does it?
No.
Any creative thing. It's sort of like, I always thought, I think when I was a student, I would see everything that I did as not quite good enough. And like, if only I'd make it a bit more like that thing over there that I'm looking at. But then when I got to the point where I was like, oh, well, I can do that, it was sort of boring again. And I had to reintroduce something to make it more difficult, or to make sure that the end thing wasn't ever perfect. Because perfectionism, I think, is a bit boring.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how I see it anyway. I think everyone kind of sees it in a different way. I suppose from myself looking at your work, when I look at your work, I see this like joy of exactly just paper and pencil at a fundamental level. And I think that's why I was really excited to talk to you about this idea of a blank sheet of paper or an empty canvas, because you seem like somebody that really relishes every single opportunity to be able to draw.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, one thing I remember doing, and I used as a practice when I was trying to get out of that like very precious mindset, was wrecking things first.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. How do you get, so even before you start, you like crumple up the empty page or the empty canvas?
Crumple up the page, or like scribble over a page first, or lay down like a random color, like paint a page first, just so that there isn't some barrier of like, oh
Yeah. I think that's such a good piece of advice to people, like knowing where to start. I realized I do something a bit like that at Life Joy, which is, I can be very kind of like methodical and plan out, points and structure and stuff.
you can do it like
I can try to do it accurately, but sometimes I do exactly what you're talking about, make a massive mess and really scribble and press hard on the pencil. And then my job is to kind of rectify the mess or solve the problem. Is that how you see it? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's almost like, you put on your hard hat and you're like, okay,
now the work begins. Yeah.
I think it's like, it's almost like a really bad habit that I had growing up, is leaving things, and maybe this is really a bad thing to say, I'd leave things all the way until the night before, and then create the work, or like do the piece of homework or whatever, just because then I almost have this like mad like scientist urgency,
pressure,
and then I'm like, I don't care what it looks like, I'm just gonna like, and it's bad that I left it to the last minute to get that sense of
drama, urgency, dynamism. I'm totally with you on that. I think though, when you're like 20 or 18 or whatever it is, when you're doing that, it's probably because you've got better things to do.
You got your whole life to
exactly,
you got a boy to text.
But then I think there is something really good about that, where I think as we get older, we become methodical and better at time planning and chores and all those things that are not going to do themselves. I think that is a good strategy, which is this kind of brinkmanship of leaving it till the last minute and then like running at full force or as fast as you can to get it done, because that delivers a different energy. I really like that.
So I was gonna just say, so I wonder whether like the messing up your paper or kind of causing chaos in some way first replicates that sense of urgency. And
well, a life drawing is timed, isn't it?
Oh,
so it's like this pose is 10 minutes, so I will spend 1 minute sort of roughly putting down lots of
mapping it.
But like putting down lots of like high energy marks that have got no accuracy, and then spend the 9 minutes kind of like sweeping
bring it in,
and kind of like trying to extricate something for. But I don't think they're actually that. I don't think they're that different ways of working. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Like, you wouldn't do that with like making a cake. You would like
Oh
make.
no, yeah, this is why I'm a bad baker, because you need exact
Mm.
everything, measurements and everything. But I love cooking because it's the sprinkle a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, I've got half of this vegetable. Let me chuck it in. Doesn't have to be so exacting. Yeah, it's a different kind of mind. So yeah.
So I think this mindset thing is something also I'm really curious about when it comes to drawing, because I do think, certainly myself, I need to be in the right mindset to be able to work. What kind of mindset are you in when you're working?
If I am at my desk and I am creating a piece of work, I I kind of have it's actually a bit chaotic. I think I'll have like a film on at the same time, and I'll have
Oh
my.
God, you're not one of these people that drive watching EastEnders or something.
I don't drive, so there you go, full
Okay.
stop. But I think I have like multiple things going on, so that I can. I don't know. It's got nothing to do. The film's got nothing to do with what I'm creating, but I'll just have something on the background, and yeah. So I.
That's mad that you have something visual going whilst you're doing something visual. If it's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with
Yeah.
what you're creating,
So I have like some horror movie or something on in the background, and
giving it a very particular flavour.
Yeah. So I don't know. Haven't really analyzed why I do that.
I can see you. So you've got like this really dark horror film, and you're kind of like watching it, and then when it gets to the scary bit, you do a bit of drawing. So
Let me look away.
Yeah. I hate horror films.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got peer pressured into watching Nightmare on Elm Street when I was about 12.
Oh, so you're traumatized.
Absolutely, I could do roller coasters, anything like that. What I cannot do is horror
really?
film. Oh my God, no, no.
There's some good horror films out at the
I'm
moment.
fine, I'm sure, but I just cannot watch them.
Oh, really?
I'm way too, yes, like.
What are you watching then?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that about what you watch in different moods, because I remember I had a cat in lockdown, and the cat died, and I was watching Handmaid's Tale,
Oh,
and I couldn't watch any more because the thing was really the program was really traumatic, and then I was in such a difficult mindset with the what happened to the cat. I think I would watch if I was working. I don't think I could watch something. I'd listen to music, and I think also as a maker, if I'm doing something quite repetitive like sanding, I would listen to sort of like contemporary classical music, which is just like super repetitive.
okay, yeah.
Whereas maybe with something like life drawing, where I feel like I need a lot of energy, someone else.
Okay, interesting. I was thinking when you were saying that, I was thinking what music I listen to, and I can't really do like backgroundy stuff.
Elevator music.
I have, yeah, I can't really do like a classical or something. I'll have really dramatic music, so it kind of fits the film. If I have a film on, it's really dramatic, and yeah, music. I'll almost listen to maybe the same song over and over again, and I'll be singing along, and it's kind of like psychopathic.
Everything comes out in the podcast. Everything that was not meant to come out comes out in the podcast. Okay.
like okay, so for example, one really dramatic Chapel Roan song, like Good Luck Babe or something, I'll listen to that for an hour.
Wow.
Just...
I thought I was quite bad at repeating songs.
Oh, really? Do you have it as well?
I repeat something over and over and over and over again, and then I sort of get a bit sick of it. And yeah.
Yeah, I kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, on that topic, I remember seeing something a while ago, maybe 2 years ago, and on your Instagram feed, where you'd been invited to a concert, like a rock concert, in your wings to draw.
Yeah.
And maybe, can you talk about that in relation to what you just said about music? Because that's like a whole big atmosphere of crowd and live performance, and, you know, you in the wings drawing. How did that go?
That, I think, that I guess with everything we've just talked about as well, is like the high energy, emotional aspect of it is like something that really feeds me. And there is a time limit. You've got to get everything down on the page in 30 minutes or less, and the person's moving about on the stage, so you really have to be super quick and dynamic with with the drawing, and it all spills out on the, and yeah, you can't really, well, you can make mistakes, but they get incorporated into the drawing.
Yeah.
And so I love all of the, facets of
Was that a good experience to do?
yeah, I love it. That's kind of maybe the best way that I work, is it's like not having another chance
Yeah.
to create something.
But I think that takes a lot of confidence and a lot of experience to get to the point where that's not super scary and the pressure is so much that you don't really, you're so worried about not having another chance, not having much time, not having another situation like that happen, that I can imagine for some people that's really, really tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know what you mean, but I think that is a bit of a balance of things you can control, which is sort of how you respond to all these other things that you can't control. How you do you have some kind of mindset where you think, well, I can only do my best, and they've asked me here, and it's my response, and I just have to accept whatever is revealed by drawing for 30 minutes at a rock concert.
Yeah. Um, I, I sort of almost feel like it's such a small version of it, but it's like a mini performance in some ways, and like when you go on a stage and you perform to an audience, that is whatever version you get of that song or that act, that's what it is. And I guess it's like learning this, borrowing from those kinds of artists, that mindset and that way of creating, but using it in like this.
But how do you get from that person that is really worried about perfectionism, and he's worried about doing like a perfect drawing or perfect representation of something, fast forwarding to this person who's like, well, it is what it will be.
It is what it is, yeah.
It's going to be what it is.
Yeah.
Because I think for a lot of people that's quite hard to understand that. And in my head, there's that they're quite far apart, those things.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what I mean about the perfect thing can be boring but perfect, but then the live performance or the quick under pressure thing might not be as good, but it has these other characteristics in it that are like irreplaceable, and that you can't manufacture. And it was only in that specific moment in time, in that location, that they happened.
Oh, well, a huge part of it obviously is like the repetition of doing something. It's like the boring behind the scenes stuff to get to that performance on stage and doing a drawing, is like doing the countless.
Might that be the figure, for example? Because you said that the figure, that the performer was moving, and so you've drawn 46,328 figures before that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the countless times you've done all those drawings before where it's not under pressure and you kind of hone that behind the scenes, is that takes you to the point where you can do that. So it is, although it looks really effortless or carefree, you do have to kind of be learn how to do all those things and take all those steps beforehand before you can just like let it loose a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting, that thing, isn't it, of sort of my dad was a painter, and he used to talk about it being a kind of raw response to things. Like, he was an amazing draftsman, but his paintings, he'd learned how to relax, not care what anyone thought, and respond in a very kind of visceral, fast, this thing of like the art is in the mistake, and work in a way where he kind of, it looks effortless, but also there's another layer which is like, I don't care what anyone thinks.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for a client, that's a very tricky balance to do it right, I would imagine. Interesting. So in that situation, how do you prepare? What do you take with you? So you've talked a little bit about like the mental preparation. What does the physical preparation for that look like?
It is kind of creating like a satchel of quick response mediums. You've got pens, pencils, like little oil pastels and things like that. Gouache, because it dries super quick, but you get like a nice matte quality. Um, and then sometimes I pre-prepare paper. So yeah, like we said, painting a piece of paper or like getting some sort of color down before. Almost like you have to kind of imagine where you're going. Like I've traveled to a few places or done like a residency abroad or something, and then I always like to kind of imagine, oh, what kind of colors would be this?
Why there be that?
Yeah, like if I go to I'm thinking if I'm going to Berlin, just picking somewhere out of my hat, what colors do does the Berlin atmosphere feel like? Am I gonna take?
I'm seeing a range of greys.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
And lots of black.
Like a steely blue,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
and there's a fun part of the process and kind of like picking the pencils and the
Yeah.
color palette, and then taking through a few wild cards in there, and then.
But also, I think that's fine when you're in a studio. There's an agility to turning up an event, right? You can't just kind of go, oh, hang on, I'm going to go to the shops and get this, or like, oh, why didn't I have that? Hang on, I'll be back in half an hour. Everything, you've got to have everything kind of at your disposal quickly that you can quickly get and not, sharpen all the pencils. They're not spending.
Yeah, and sometimes that you do find that there isn't quite the right medium that you've brought, or it's not quite right, but it is just like the make do and trying to.
Sometimes that's good, isn't it?
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think it's always good to sort of. I'm not saying like throw in some unpredictability, but I think as an observer looking at your work, it always feels like super fresh and energetic, and I think the moment it becomes something expected or it becomes something like, oh, I've done this before, that kind of tingle will go out.
Yeah.
It's quite, it needs to be preserved, and it can be lost quite easily, I think.
Maybe it's like a nice media mix of preparing some and then leaving some volatile elements in there, so that you're kind of caught unaware sometimes.
And does it ever happen where you're kind of not enjoying the do you when I go to draw life drawing, it's a really odd feeling, because I've paid to go, I've gone there, it's my choice, nobody's paying me to go, but I wouldn't necessarily say I enjoy it. It's something else. It's like really, really, really high.
Are you mentally exhausted after?
Oh my goodness. When I was A level doing life drawing, I used to get this knot in the back of my neck from like concentrating so hard for 2 hours looking at
It's actually like really mentally taxing doing life drawing or something, and really trying to get it perfect, or not perfect, but like using your eyes. To use your eyes is such a like hard thing to do. Like you almost feel like the lens in your eyeballs are like, you can feel them contracting or something as you're trying to zoom in on the zoom in.
And then it goes into your brain and then processes, and then it has to like come out through.
You're connecting, and you're controlling and trying to get it. Yeah.
And this is what I think when people say, "Oh, drawing's really easy." I don't know. I just think they're either lying, and I just don't know anybody for whom drawing is easy.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
Coloring's really easy.
What, colouring in?
Colouring in, yeah. That's nice and relaxing.
I think that's something like, if we go back to illustration for a minute, I think that's something like, a lot of people think that illustration is just sort of like extended colouring in.
Yeah.
And I think you're like a really good example of how it's not that, even though your work is very colourful. I think it's, maybe we can get onto this a little bit, because there's drawing and then there's illustration, and then there's fine art or painting. And I do struggle a little bit to know the difference between where like drawing then overlaps into illustration and then illustration overlaps into fine art.
They do kind of Venn diagram.
Yeah,
a little bit. And lots of people, I think, kind of consider themselves like an artist, illustrator, or
slash. Everything's slash.
Everything's slash. Are you a slash?
Yeah, definitely. I'm like, I think I do too many
I
slash.
feel
but
like you're an OG slash.
yeah, I think that, like, that's good in one respect, but
Yeah.
then also I think it's good just to be, and I think that's why I wanted to talk to you, that you're sort of like you're laser focused on getting really really good at one thing, at drawing,
Mm.
and getting really really good at that one thing makes you an expert. And I think I don't feel like I'm an expert in one thing. I can do lots of things. So I think it's just a temperament thing. It's just sort of kind of different.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see illustration? Or let me ask this a different way. What kind of jobs or projects will you do which is feels more like communication illustration, and ones that feel more like fine art?
Whoa. Well, I mean, the very kind of traditional illustrative jobs that I get that feel like illustration are, the editorial magazine type ones
So
where,
would that be an image that supports text?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because that's sort of one definition of illustration, isn't it? It's a support for
Mhm.
some other kind of medium,
Yeah.
whether it's spoken or written.
And I'm often like kind of employing different techniques where it's not about like a recording what I see around me, or it's combining different images or creating vehicles to explain something. And actually there's something kind of fine art in that as well. But yeah, I guess that's illustration, where it's illustrating a point or an emotion, or you're creating something like that. Yeah, I don't, obviously I'm not exactly a fine artist, so I can't really explain what like the definition of fine art is, or like get into the nitty-gritty. But I guess the stuff that I do where it's more personal, and I'm just drawing for the sake of it, and then I let people look at those pictures, then that's the ones that kind of straddle the like fine art side, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think when I do workshops with students, often I ask them what the difference is between, and this is not really related to your practice so much, but we'll often have a conversation about the difference between a diagram and an illustration, and really trying to get down to the nitty gritty of what. Probably because I want them to do a diagram of something, not because I want them to do an illustration.
You want exact
Not
exacting, or
not necessarily exacting, but I want them to be able to diagrammatize something without illustrating it.
okay.
And so that conversation is quite a nuanced one about the differences between those two things. So I'm always interested in how specifically illustrators tell people about their work and tell them what they do.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I don't know what exactly a diagram is exactly.
well, it could be IKEA instructions. It could be Lego. It could be the underground map. It could be how a fish swims. It could be a technical exploded diagram of a plug.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're all kind of
They're
drawings and they're visual information in some way that help somebody do something.
So and then in the illustration, I think, is the fact that you can sort of lie a little bit.
Yeah.
And there is like a mixture of truth, and then also
Oh, I love that.
and also lies.
So truth and sort of olfactory fiction.
It's truth to the illustrator.
Yeah.
So it's like how I see it,
Yeah.
which might be like if I was to draw this room and the walls are like a very pale beigey color, but maybe I would amp up pink or something, or I choose different colors to tell the space of the room, or I'm warping the space and making things slightly larger than they actually
Amplified or exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that more than lies, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I think some people feel kind of obliged to depict exactly what's there and not. I think what you're saying is you interpret it. And you have interpretive license as an artist to see it in your own way. Can you talk about how that's developed, how your eye and your brain has developed over the last 10 years in terms of either how you work or what you look at or
Mm.
the materials that you use?
I reckon it's just, yeah, having more confidence in yeah, bending reality. It's like the more you do things and you get more steady in your hand and drawing things as they are, then you can slightly tweak and tweak and tweak and change things as you go. Um, and I guess it's like, yeah, having more volatile materials and things that comes with with time and things like that. Is I remember so clearly on like foundation and things like that that we were told like don't use fine liner and these very like precise
Yeah, yeah.
mediums where you can get everything really perfect and be very neat and concise with your lines and things. And I remember, yeah, lots of people, and me included, we really liked using those things that felt very comfortable. But it's like the sense of letting go of those kinds of things and using a brush pen that
Yeah.
slips out of your hand.
I'm
Yeah.
sure I was guilty of well, I know I was like I know that I would say to students, don't use fine liner because it reduces everything down to doing this like
Yeah.
tiny little thing, and it's okay to make mistakes.
Mhm.
And the way to make mistakes, like I don't think fine liners allow you to make interesting mistakes.
Yeah.
Um,
And also, I find if I go to a gallery and there's a whole other thing of like, if you're not from a creative family and you don't come from a creative background or someone that teaches you how to engage with a gallery space, I remember and I remember walking through gallery spaces and thinking the thing that I'm drawn to just naturally without being told what to look for or how to analyze a picture are the, you know, the unfinished paintings or in a historical gallery or something, finding the ones where that you can see like the pencil sketch and yeah, incredible. And getting a sense of like the human touch or maybe they're not mistakes, but that you can see them kind of planning things out and where the marks are going to go, and there's almost like a story there, or just the feeling of like the human fingerprint like that is that was
I think we're going to lose that as we go forward into the future. I think
Yeah.
everything is going to become so digitized that, and I think we're going to look. I mean, already, I think you know, you go to the National Gallery and you look at a Constable or a Turner painting of some waves in a storm or
Yeah.
something, and you can see the brushstroke
Yeah.
that man applied hundreds of years ago, and it's like
he
that
was
one.
you can see him.
Yeah, that one moment is frozen forever
Yeah.
in that painting, and I've got kind of
It's emotional.
I've got a kind of spine tingle thinking about that because I think it's so rare to get that kind of directness that everything is kind of smooth and polished and airbrushed and
Yeah.
like perfect.
I hope though it will like almost spark like some sort of
Counter movement.
counter movement.
Yeah. But I suppose also things kind of go in waves, don't they? They kind of we're moving towards much more digitized stuff, and then I think, you know, as you say, things will change, and people will move back to things which are kind of much more raw and unfinished. Maybe now is a good time to talk about that thing that I wanted to talk about, which is my question is to you is when do you know that drawing is finished? When do you know, if you've got half an hour and you can spend that time however you want, how do you think, right, I'm done with that one, I'm going to move on to another one? What kind of tactics do you employ?
Well, it's hard to tell sometimes if something is finished when you've been like right up close to it. That is really hard. So I guess in a practical sense, there's like a few things you can do to kind of give yourself fresh eyes. Like, I'll in the photo booth of my Mac computer, I'll take a photo of it.
Oh, it's backwards, isn't it?
And it's backwards. And then I'll just, so it's like and it's also kind of a little bit bad quality. It's not, it's not in this like 3D physical version of it. So then I'll kind of see it in this bad quality reversed version, and then I can kind of, it looks brand new, and then I can go, okay, instantly I'm like, something needs to be here, something needs to be there, and then it's pretty much done. Like it reduces it.
I think that's a really, I mean, that's a bit. That's also a bit like putting stuff up on the wall.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And yeah, or just looking through a mirror at something, you know, something is behind us and we look through a mirror, see it that way. That's really good that you've kind of given those tips. More, I was meaning when you're in an event, if you're drawing some portraits or if you're at that concert,
Oh yeah,
how do you
how to
know
pull back.
how do you know when to, like, okay, either that's it for now with that one, it's finished, or that's all I can do here and I'm going to add something later on and I'm going to start another one, or
Yeah.
this is absolutely terrible, I need to stop and start again because I can tell that this is not going well.
I guess I mean, it's hard because it's so dependent on that that whatever version is in front of me to whether it's right or not. Um, I mean, I hugely rely on, in that situation, it's like the urgency of time. It's like trying to just go, okay, I really haven't got much time. I'm just gonna not destroy, sorry, just discard it and then move on to the next one. That it's just a time thing. But yeah, if I actually think about, it's just a feeling. I don't really know.
The reason I'm asking that is because I think a lot of amateur artists really struggle with overworking something.
Yeah, for sure.
Or things not going in a good direction and thinking, oh, I'll just add a little bit more, I'll add a little bit more, I'll add a bit more. And very rarely does that turn out to be something good.
Yeah.
Often it's better just to be like, okay, I'm going to quit one on the head. I'm not going to cry over spilled milk. I'm just going to start again with a new. Because I always think the second time you do something is quicker and better because you've had a bit of a sort of rubbish practice the first time, or can be.
Maybe it's, I mean, I've talked about like just doing so many versions of something, but you really do have to maybe just lean into the negative space and flirt with negative space and maybe it's like doing really stripped back versions of ones to get you out of your comfort zone, and then you kind of can do a like version in between. Does that make sense? Like do some versions where you only get down the bare minimum information, so then that creates like a language in your head of like hierarchy, like important, like what's important to you when you look around a space, or you want to get something down on paper. What is the most important thing? What are you trying to communicate in the image?
So that's like an objective that you have in your head.
Yeah.
There. What do I want to do?
Yeah. So maybe that's the answer. It's like when I'm deciding if I've finished with something, it's if I've got down the most important thing on the page. It's like, have I communicated what I wanted to?
And are you striving to do less lines to communicate more with more economy?
For some things, and then maybe it's like one element of an image, I want loads of lines and I want something to have lots of friction and lots of energy and it feels really built up, but then have something that has lots of emptiness, and it's making sure everything feels nice and balanced on the page.
And do you ever get to the point where you've got a kind of creative block where you're working on something and you don't know what to do to make it better?
Yeah, and then I just leave it for a bit.
Well, what's a bit? Like overnight?
few days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then come back to it. I found a couple things.
Do you hide it, or is it there staring at you?
Hide it.
Really?
Hide it for a bit, then take it out, and then
Turn it over.
Push it away. And then look at it and go, oh, I remember it.
It wasn't quite as bad as
It wasn't too bad, yeah. But the things that need to get changed are always a little bit obvious after stepping away for a while, I find. Do you find?
I just feel like I never get anything right the first time, and
that's so interesting because we differ a little bit then, because a lot of my practice is like the first.
Yeah, I don't know quite what it is. I just feel maybe because I'm trying something out that's new, and I just never assume that I'm going to get it right the first time.
Do you ever find versions, like initial versions, and go?
Yeah. I think so. And I think most frustrating thing is if you think I'm not happy with that one, and then it gets worse with a second, third, fourth iteration, as opposed to getting better. I think often Yeah, I'm really interested in this thing where you leave something alone, uh, and you leave it raw, and you leave out bits, and it's perfect by being unfinished. But I think that's my definition of perfect is when you leave it alone. When you think it's perfect, it's not perfectionism. It's not that it's perfect. It's just you've thought it's enough.
Yeah,
It's like that's it now.
it's your version. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But obviously there's like with a physical thing like this, you can't, if the first version doesn't work,
Yeah.
there's a sense that you have to keep churning out.
Yeah, I mean, if you sit on it and it falls apart, you then need to do another version. But I think also you might assemble it and think that's not quite right. I'm gonna modify it. And that's very different to like starting over with a drawing because you've got this has got 40 elements to it,
Yeah.
and I can replace some bits or
Move
go
something a little bit.
yeah, or get a
Yeah.
different type of word or something like that maybe. I think it's just it depends on what it is I'm working on and how. But I think there are some similarities there about this kind of, people are you can be very, very self-critical or not self-critical enough where, you meet some people and they're like, well, I finished, I think it's pretty,
Yeah.
and it's like, I think you can do better. Or, oh, it's terrible, I really hate it. No, it's great. No, I really hate it. Like, that's not a good pronunciation either. I think you need a bit of self-critique, but not so much that you're kind of sucking the energy out of everybody you talk to.
You have to. I think it's like having a good inner dialogue with yourself.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still struggle sometimes where you get that moment where you're like, I hate everything, but you're just saying it to yourself in your head.
Yeah.
And it's just having to remind yourself in your head, go, okay, why do you hate it? What's going on here? Like,
do you talk to yourself in your head when you're looking at something and sort of you not necessarily out loud, but if you're editing or deciding which one of 4 drawings you're going to put forward, will you talk to yourself about those?
Yeah, you can kind of be a little teacher in your head, turn on the teacher mode. And I mean, it's funny because I've done some teaching now, and it's funny because you just use that tone of voice and to yourself and just
But I think also if you've got those 4 things in front of you, 4 versions, and you're forced to explain to somebody why you think that one's better than I number 2 is not better than
justify.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it is a sort of instinct of like, I just like it. But then actually, sometimes that's masking, or sometimes that's being a bit lazy. I think sometimes it is good to kind of go, well, I think the composition is better. And if you look around the edge, there's more intrigue around the edge and there's more depth of color. And I really, you actually verbalize it and say it out loud. I do think that can help sometimes.
And there's also sometimes it's a case where there's multiple good versions, but for different things. So then it's trying to work out, weighing up all the pros and cons of different things. I mean, like this one's good because it just something feels better.
Yeah, I love that process. I think that's such an enjoyable part of editing and deciding. I think I like editing.
Editing is it is actually really fun, isn't it?
Yeah, because you've sort of you've done some of or the majority of the work. And he feels kind of like the nice bit, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can be kind of quick and I actually really like using Photoshop these days because it is like a putting on a different persona with like a different hat and looking at your artwork or your creation in a different way and tweaking things and changing colors and things like that.
Yeah,
that's a really fun part of it as well.
Before we close, can we just I've got, I guess, one big last question, which is about your desk and what that looks like. You've mentioned your workspace a little bit before. Can you just describe a little bit what, if we walked in right now, what would we see?
It's not very organized. It's like it's kind of multiple things at once. So it's like kind of like a knitting zone, and it's a art zone, and it's a reading zone, and it's like, where when there's just like loads of things on the desk, and whenever I do a new project I have to almost like sweep the space.
Oh, okay.
And then I thought,
for some reason I thought you'd be super organized. I see.
Oh no,
I thought like everything kind of color coordinated and
It's really messy. It's so bad.
do you prepare that? Do you clean up after the end of working, or do you clear up before you work?
Kind of clear up before I work. Yeah.
Mm.
Kind of.
How big is it? How big is this desk?
It's kind of like two of these.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
Oh,
a long,
what, 2 lots of 2 meters or 2 lots
Like-
of 1.5 meters?
like this double. So
Oh, nice.
so going on. Yeah.
And is there daylight? Is there spotlight? Is there task?
It's a light kind of directly over me like this, so I can always see everything. Yeah, yeah. I think in the future, I'm gonna have lots of daylight.
Uh-huh.
But actually, I say that, but sometimes you do need to be able to control the light really specifically.
Right.
And yeah,
And where's the computer? Is the computer there as well?
computer's there as well.
Okay.
I actually have computer and then iPad, because sometimes I'm using the iPad and then it's plugged in, and then I've also got my phone. I've got three devices going at once.
And do you ever draw digitally?
Not really.
Mm.
If sometimes in the moment where I've got like a client and they want something that has more of a digital feel, most of the time I'm drawing the thing and then scanning it and then turning it into like a PNG, or I'm tweaking it so it looks more digital, but it's still that raw first version.
Yeah, great. I've got some rapid fire.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I hope so.
Pencil or marker?
Ooh, pencil.
Analog or digital?
Analog.
Monochrome or colourful?
Colourful.
Big sketches or little sketches?
Oh, little sketches.
Well, how little?
Okay. Like a sketchbook. What were you thinking?
I don't know. Well, you talked about fine liner. That could be like really.
Oh, that could be like minuscule. I guess like a normal sketchbook.
Okay.
So I can kind of do them, whatever I can capture in one arm swoop.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because you've got like fingertip, wrist, elbow, shoulder. Like,
Yeah, whatever you can do in this motion. Anything bigger.
Okay. So the next one is loose sheets or pages in sketchbook.
Pages in the sketchbook, then.
Keep mistakes or bin mistakes?
I say keep mistakes if you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's my messy desk, yeah.
Think then do, or do then think?
Do then think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creative chaos or calm order?
Creative chaos.
And background noise or silence?
Background noise.
With horror films. Finished or never finished? We've kind of talked about this anyway.
Yeah, I guess. But then, can I say like never finished? So that's
Never
my
finished.
version.
Yeah,
of finished.
yeah, like never finished.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that. And all nighter or up early to finish?
Oh dear, all nighter.
Okay.
That's bad, no?
No, that's absolutely your decision to.
I'm get the spurt of energy.
Okay.
Like run on that energy.
That is the final question.
Oh,
Joey, thank you so much. It was absolutely brilliant.
thank you for having me. This has been so fun.
Thank you to my guest, Joey Yu, on this episode of The Empty Canvas. Please like and subscribe, and maybe send this to somebody that you think needs a bit of a nudge on their own creative journey. I'll see you in the next episode.